Hello everyone, good morning. Today we are going to see about the data types and constraints in Snowflake. So data types and column constraints. In any database, data types and constraints are fundamental to ensure the data is stored accurately, efficiently, and consistently. If you are going to create a table, you should mention the number of columns in that. And each column will be having a specific data type. If it is a name column, it will be having the string or varchar. If it is a age, it is a numeric or integer. And if it is a marks, again numeric. So this is the way how we are going to decide the data types for each columns. And the constraints for each column also we have to decide when we are going to create this database and its respective tables. Constraints are basically primary constraints, not null constraints, and unique constraint. These are the constraints we maintain in the database naturally. Primary key constraints we are going to create for a particular table so that it will be used as a foreign key in the relational table as well as to maintain the uniqueness of the data. Not null constraints we usually create to maintain the data is all the rows of the particular table, not having the null records. And uniqueness constraints to maintain there is no duplication of the data. It acts similarly to the primary key, but it enforces most on the uniqueness. It enforced mostly on the uniqueness of the data. So these are the fundamental steps we have to take to make sure the data is stored accurately. There is no redundancy, there is no duplication, and data inconsistency is not there. Data inconsistency means all the columns are having the respective data types. Data is stored efficiently and consistently. They define what kind of data can be stored in each column and what rules the data must flow. That is what I explained now. What kind of data? In each column, what kind of data has to be stored? One column can have string, another column can have numeric, another column can have float. So these are the kind of data we are going to store in each column. The rules are primary constraint, not null constraint, and unique constraint. Data types, what they mean. A data type defines the kind of the value a column can hold, such as numbers, text, or dates. What kind of value you are going to store in that column? Any table you create, the table should be having the columns and rows. The column is the primary thing. According to the number of columns and the column types only, you are going to insert the data. So the primary thing we have to consider is what kind of value you are going to store in each column. It can be the numbers or text or dates. Choosing the right data type ensures storage efficiency and accurate calculations. You have to choose the right data type for your column. That determines effective storage efficiency and accurate calculations. If it is a name column, that should be supported by the varchar. If it is a age, that should be supported by numeric. If it is a marks, that should be supported by numeric. You should be very specific on this columns data type. This is going to take care of the storage efficiency and accurate calculation of the data. Category, example types and descriptions. Numeric is integer, decimal and floats. Store whole numbers or decimals. If it is a string data type of the column, it can be character, varchar or text. So it can be character, varchar or text. It store text or character data. Date and time means it is going to store the date, time and the timestamp. It stores the date and the time values. Boolean means true or false values. Binary means blob and var binary. The store images or files. It is going to store the images or files. That is going to support the binary data type. And others are arrays and JSON. It stores complex or semi-structured data. So basically, these are the different data types you can choose for your columns when you are going to create the tables. Data types. This is the syntax. Create command, table, student's table name with the respective columns, student ID, student name, DOB, and marks. Student ID belongs to the integer data type. Student name belongs to the varchar of 50. It holds 50 characters. DOB means date. Marks means decimal, that is float. Here, each column uses an appropriate data type. Integer means it stores integer IDs. Var character of 50 means it stores names, that is maximum 50 characters. Date is going to store the date of birth, so you have to give the date data type. Decimal of 5,2 stores marks up to the 2 decimal points. So this is what you are going to use for the marks column. So these are the respective columns and its respective data type you have to mention. Column constraints, why they matter. Constraints or rules apply to the columns to ensure the data integrity and validity. Data integrity means to avoid the duplication of the data redundancy, and data inconsistency, and you have to maintain the validity of the data. The data validation has to be done. So constraints are the things they are going to take care of these. What are the rules we are going to apply to the columns? They prevent invalid or duplicate data from entering the table. This is the primary thing why we are going for the column constraints. We are going to give the set of rules for the columns so that the entire table will maintain the data integrity and validity. Common column constraints. Common column constraints are not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, default, and check. In the not null, you are going to ensure that column cannot have the empty values. Student name, varchar of 50 not null means this student name column cannot have the null values in their rows. Unique means ensure all the values in the columns are distinct. Email var character of 100 unique. So in this, you are going to maintain the unique email ID so that the same email ID should not be repeated. Primary key, it is going to combine the not null plus unique, identifies each row uniquely. The student ID is an integer primary key. Foreign key means it is going to link two tables using the shared key. That is, you are going to connect the relation table. Foreign key, department ID references department of department ID. So, this department ID, I'm going to use as a foreign key in another table where it is going to refer the department ID from the department table. This is the way how I'm going to design the foreign key. One key, the primary key from one table will be shared as a foreign key in another table. Default means it assigns a default value if none is provided. For example, status. Status is the column which is going to have the var character of 10. Default, I am going to set this status as active. You are going to give some default value for that column using the keyword default. Check. Ensures values meet a specific condition. So I am going to check with this condition marks greater than 0 and marks less than equal to 100. So when I am going to create the table, for that marks column, I am going to give the constraint check constraint. So when whatever the marks I am going to enter to this, it should be greater than 0 and less than 100. So while in the table creation only, it is going to check whether whatever the marks column we are going to create, it is greater than 0 and less than 100. So these are the constraints or the rules we are going to provide to the each columns of the database. We may be provided things to each columns or whatever the columns you want. Generic columns and all, we no need to mention the rules and regulations, but for the which are the primary columns for the business purpose, for those columns definitely we have to maintain these rules. Table with the data types and constraints. Create a table employees with these columns: employee ID, employee name, salary, department ID, hire date. Okay. So in this, employee ID is a primary key. Employee name is a var character of 50. This is not null constraints. Salary is a decimal. This is a decimal data type. In this, while creating this column only, you are going to check the salary is greater than 0. So in this table creation, in each column, you are going to provide the constraints. So each column is provided with the particular data type followed by the constraint. The first column employee ID comes with the integer data type followed by the primary key constraint. Next column employee name comes with the var character of 50 not null constraint. Salary column comes with the decimal of 10, 2 with the constraint check of salary greater than 0. Department ID integer. This column does not have any constraint. Hire date, it is a date. Default is current date, today's date. So the hire date is a column which is having the date data type. The default constraint you are going to give as a current date. What it is, it has to accept the current date. Foreign key of department ID that references department table. Okay, so the department ID from department table will be referred as a foreign key in this employee table. So this is the way how we are going to create the table with the column name, data type and constraints. Table with the data types and constraints. Employee ID uniquely identifies each record. Employee name cannot be null. So this is what we saw here. Whatever I explained here, I'm just summarizing you here. The salary must always be positive. That's why you are specifying check greater than 0. Hire date automatically takes today's date if not entered. If you are not giving the new date, it has to take the today's date as a default date. The foreign key ensures each employee belongs to the valid department. This ensures clean, consistent and reliable data. Best practices for data types and constraints. Always pick the smallest appropriate data type to save the space. You should always choose the smallest appropriate data type so that memory will be saved. You have to use the constraints to maintain the data quality and prevent bad data entry. When you are going to set some rules in the data types on the columns, you are going to prevent bad data loading into the database. Wherever you go, it is better to follow some rules to maintain some disciplines. That's why we are going to create some rules for the columns so that you are going to avoid the loading the bad data into the database. Apply default values for common fields like status or timestamps. For a status field, timestamp field, you can better provide the default value so that whenever the rows or the rows having the empty values for it, the default values will be taken for it. Use check constraints for validation logic. So I'm going to check some validation in the creation of the column itself. Combine data types and constraints for a robust schema design. So data types define the kind of the data stored in each column. What kind of data you are going to store in each column. Constraints enforce the rules that keep data valid and consistent. So you are going to enforce some rules for the columns. You are going to enforce some constraints for the rules for the columns. Together, they form the foundation of strong database design. These are the best practices for the good database design. A well-defined schema ensures better performance, accuracy, and easier data management. I hope today's session was interesting. If you have any queries regarding the course or if you need any upgraded content, please post your queries in this below link. So here we have this is the form where you can mention the what is your name, what is your mobile number, email ID and location and which course you are looking for. Please enter all these details and if you give the submit, you will be able, your queries will be submitted to our institution so that they will come back to you. They will respond back to you. Thank you so much.